Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. In this video, we're going to be covering a bunch of different topics here. We're going to be looking at supplier prices increasing due to inflation. We're going to also take a look at the Canada situation again. We're also going to be taking a look at what happened with the LooksRare team cashing out. Also going to be taking a look at what our U.S. Representative Josh Gottheimer introducing a bill when it comes to stablecoin insurance. And we're going to be taking a look at what happened with Mastercard and them expanding their consulting with crypto dedicated practices, and then a lot more positivities that's been happening within the space. So quickly looking at the CoinGecko chart here, says market cap of $2.07 trillion market cap, 5.2% up for the day. Looking at the top 10 here, Bitcoin sitting at 44,110, Ethereum sitting at 3,118, Tether, Binance Coin sitting at 428, XRP sitting at 83 cents, Cardano sitting at $1.09, Solana sitting at $101, Terra sitting at $56, Avalanche flipping Polkadot sitting at $90. Looking at the top gainer in 24-hour period, we have the Graph sitting at 20%, Gala sitting at 17%, Decentraland sitting at 13%, and so on. So there's some good gainers, double-digit gainers within the space. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 46. So just like yesterday, obviously there's still a little bit of fear in the market, and there's just a bunch of different variables that kind of are influencing this type of sentiment within the market. Obviously, we know Jerome Powell and the Fed, the uncertainty with the tapering and interest rate hikes due to inflation and how they're going to combat inflation. Then you have Russia threatening to invade Ukraine issues, and then you got just a bunch of other FUD articles and certain situations that's been happening within the market in general, all contributing to this uncertainty and then this fear that's in the market. So starting with the Wall Street Journal here, it says supplier prices jumped last month as U.S. inflation surged. Latest figures seen as reinforcing case for the Fed to raise rates at March policy meeting. So without going too deep into this, we've been covering a lot about what's going on with inflation and the Fed, and what's been happening to with the CPI, and how prices are increasing with gas and certain meats and certain things that we have. Obviously, you have supply chain issues and just a bunch of other things that we're dealing with. So as we know, supply chain issues happen, inflation increasing, obviously the rates and prices of things are going to increase as right along with it. So it's creating a lot of turmoil within, especially like middle lower class, but just within our markets as well, which then increases our contributes to the fear within the markets and the downsides within the markets. Continuing on here, we covered what's going on with the crowdfunding stuff with the truckers and stuff that's happened in Canada. And it says Canada invokes the Emergency Act to block crowdfunding in Bitcoin transactions. So I'm not going to go too deep into this article. You can read this article from CoinSpeaker to go into it. But we've covered a little bit of this yesterday in our video. And we're going to cover the two videos that we had introduced in there just to kind of shed light on the story that's going on. But here was this is from Rebel News, and this was the speech that had happened. And this is from V Cozy that said, why I keep $0 in my bank account. So let's take a listen into this.
The government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. The government is issuing an order with
So that's very problematic for a lot of investors out there, especially us that invest into the crypto space in general. It's like we understand the whole problematic version of the centralized entities that have that control and power when it comes to our resources, our assets, and our funds. So that's why a lot of people do gravitate towards the crypto space. And with what's happening with Canada, that's not the first case of the threat of freezing your assets or for instance blocking your ability to contribute to a crowdfund, whether you're using a specific app or whatever the case is. But the whole thing is just like this is only driving stuff like this is only going to drive more and more people to digital assets because it can't be stopped. Who knows, how, they may end up taxing it, or, just like India always trying to, they, or even China and them coming out, oh, we're going to ban this, we're going to ban that. But like, you can't stop it. You can sit there and say you're going to ban it and attempt to ban it, but you can't stop, what's happening in the digital asset space, in the crypto space. So that's why a lot of people are gravitating towards it. So we're going to continue on to add to this by showing what we showed in our video yesterday. So let's take a listen into these.
There will be consequences for these actions, and they will be severe. We've already started by going after the money funding the illegal occupation. Yesterday, an Ontario court granted our request to freeze the funds from Give, Send, Go for the convoy. Fines for noncompliance will be severe, with a maximum penalty of $100,000.
So keep in mind that truckers raised $10 million on GoFundMe. That's a California company, but Canadian politicians had that effort shut down. Then Give, Send, Go, which is a Delaware company, raised almost the same amount, and Canadian politicians went after that money too. The Attorney General of Ontario successfully got a court order to freeze access to the $8.4 million raised on Give, Send, Go. Those funds were going to an Adopt a Trucker fundraising campaign. It was paying for, quote, housing, water, food, accommodations, and shuttle services for truck drivers in Ottawa. But all of that money has just been stolen by the Canadian government. It's been seized. All of this is pushing people away from government-issued currencies because they're in control of lunatics like the guy you just saw, and they're moving toward cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Just like 18-wheelers on bridges, blockchain is pretty tough for the authorities to control. Therefore, here's how you know it's a threat. The crypto guys must be white supremacists. And lo and behold, that's exactly what they're now telling us.
It's an avenue not just to make a lot of money or lose a lot of money, but it's also an avenue for money laundering, and it's also a place where white supremacists apparently are taking options. I mean, it's problematic at best in so many ways.
It's problematic at best. How do people like that get on television? There should be an IQ requirement. But by putting dumb people in the anchor chair, they're perfectly compliant to the people in charge. Crypto is white supremacy. But the hysteria gives them away.
I mean, just the look on Gary Vee's face was hilarious because it's like, really? You're really gonna throw out the money laundering? You're really gonna throw out the money laundering argument? And it's like, okay, really? When it comes to money laundering and shady behaviors, with bad, entities or groups, it's like cash is king. It really is. And it's like the blockchain, Bitcoin, any digital asset, the blockchain's there. All the evidence is there. You can track and see where money's going. So there's no hiding it. And just the reality is you can't stop or block blockchain. It is what it is. So continuing on here, we're going to take a listen into this. This is from Ted Cruz had tweeted this.
These authoritarians hate Bitcoin and they hate crypto, and it's for the same reason. Why do they hate Joe Rogan? Because they can't control him. He's not subject to their authoritarian power. Why do they hate Bitcoin? Because they can't control it. It is a system of currency outside of the monopoly control of the U.S. government. And I got to say, as I've addressed, I spoke at a big crypto conference in Austin several months ago, and I said, listen, you need to understand this administration, I believe, is going to go after you and is going to try to destroy you. And by the way, that's a pattern of authoritarians. China, communist China, outlawed Bitcoin for the exact same reason. Why does Elizabeth Warren hate Bitcoin? For the same reason that she in China hates Bitcoin, because neither one of them can control it. And the theme through all of this is the power of freedom to be not subject to the arbitrary whims of those in government power.
Well, there it is. No more needs to be said on that. So let's move on here. Article from Cointelegraph. This is on the LooksRare token. So it says LooksRare team cashes out $30 million and Wrapped ETH faces community backlash. The price of the native token Looks tumbled by 15% after the news of the cash out became public. So I don't know if you invest in this or you've taken part of this, but you might want to look into that. Make sure you look on their Twitter feed and see kind of what's going on. But it's coming down here. Here's some of like the community members kind of responding to him. It says, Love that you addressed this like we haven't been paid for 6 months. So each team member just cashed out over 3 million USD for 6 months of work, leaving the public bag holders broke with a crappy chart like this. Joke, community driven, laugh out loud. Another crypto sad joke, to be honest. And there's another community member says, so why tornado it? Seems like you kind of got caught cashing out and now damage control. So they're talking about like, why did they, why did they try to take the path of trying to hide the transaction? They're talking about most of it is going straight to tornado cash. So trying to, suppress kind of what's happening, but it's evident. It's on the blockchain. So if you're an investor in the Looks token, you might want to look into their Twitter feed and go into their whatever other community that they have and kind of see what's going on. But this is the article that Cointelegraph I put up. This stuff does entice, more FUD into the market, which can contribute to, us having fear in the market, stuff like this. Continuing on here. This is a positive here. It says U.S. Representative Josh Gottheimer introduces bill for government-backed stablecoin insurance. The bill would designate certain stablecoins as qualified, making them redeemable on a one-to-one basis for U.S. dollar. So this is absolutely massive. So we don't have, us in the crypto space, regulatory clarity is lack thereof within the space. Obviously, we don't have that yet. And obviously, you have the Ripple versus SC case going on, which is truly going to set precedent for the entire crypto market. But, we don't necessarily have that many people in positions of power like this that really are on our side in regards to the crypto market. So to have certain representatives like this that are looking to add more positive or value to the space to give the clarity it needs to flourish, that's absolutely massive. So coming over here, Blockworks had tweeted a statement from U.S. Congressman Gottheimer. I believe stablecoin issuers don't have to be banks with 100% reserves. Absolutely massive. That's huge. Another positive here says Mastercard expands consulting with crypto dedicated practices. So this is absolutely huge. Obviously, Mastercard is a payment services, and they're trying to make sure that they don't fall behind or miss the opportunity when it comes to the ever expanding crypto innovative technology in our market. So obviously they're going to do what they have to do to make sure they don't get blockbustered and get left behind. So them, expanding, their resources to educate and to further incorporate digital assets and crypto into, their company, that's absolutely massive. Mastercard is a massive company. Coming over here, this is huge. This is from Crypto Potato. It says Intel's Bitcoin mining chip to be 1,000 times faster than closest rivals, claims VP. So I highly recommend you go in and kind of research about this if you're into this thing. But this is absolutely huge. So here goes a couple statements here. It says today we at Intel are declaring our intent to contribute to the development of blockchain technologies with a roadmap of energy efficient accelerators. Intel will engage and promote as open and secure blockchain ecosystem and will help advance this technology in a responsible and sustainable way. So that's absolutely massive. The whole ESG narrative and the whole Bitcoin is bad for the environment. So you have stuff like this coming out, which is there to help, kind of combat that FUD and that issue. It's like, okay, well, they're finding new ways to make it more energy efficient and to be more responsible and sustainable, which is absolutely huge. Obviously, Jack Dorsey's block amongst the first clients, which is absolutely massive. And then it says increase Bitcoin decentralization. So check this out. This is massive. It says the new Intel chips should be available for shipping later in 2021. This was obviously earlier, and it promises to make BTC mining quicker and more energy efficient. So it says, quote, we expect that our circuit innovations will deliver a blockchain accelerator that has over 1,000x better performance per watt than mainstream GPUs from the SHA-256 base mining. So the fact that obviously, all this is sold out. I mean, us as normal people aren't going to have access to this, especially when you have those big mining companies and companies like the Block and Jack Dorsey and all these major corporations and companies buying them all up. But it's like the fact that you can have everyday people or even all these different mining companies. All it does is increase the whole Bitcoin decentralization, which can be massive, especially if we can all get our hands on, some of these things. That's absolutely huge. But, combating some FUD and a negative narrative within the space is absolutely massive. So, hats off to Intel, and I hope they keep crushing it. And then ending on a couple more positives, this is from Blockworks. It says, the New York Stock Exchange filed trademarks to launch an NFT marketplace. The filing, dated February 10th, indicated plans for a New York Stock Exchange branded marketplace to buy and sell and trade NFTs. Absolutely. We know NFTs have been a huge talk of the town when it comes to the crypto space. They hit a lot of mainstream waves, and it's just been absolutely massive. So that's huge to see. It says Coinbase will hire 2,000 people in 2022 to explore opportunities in Web3. We talk about Web3, metaverse, NFTs, crypto, digital assets. It's absolutely massive. And Coinbase is a massive company. Obviously, they've IPO'd and everything. And the fact that they're hiring, this many people within this year says a lot about where they think the crypto market and Web3 is going to go. They definitely need to hire more people on their customer service side. I can tell you that much, being a user. Coming over here, it says JP Morgan enters the metaverse with virtual Decentraland Lounge. The metaverse, JP Morgan said, has a market opportunity of $1 trillion in yearly revenue. That is absolutely massive. Metaverse. We talk about this a lot in a lot of our videos. Obviously, the metaverse is a huge play for a lot of those major investors, major corporations out there, because they see that the value in it. The user base behind metaverse, crypto gaming, NFTs is absolutely massive. A lot of you got millions and millions of people that are highly interested in the space, so they see the value in it. And you're going to end on this one. It says Warren Buffett has invested $1 billion in Bitcoin. This is from Friendly New Bank. So I'm curious to see, how, is he going to invest more? Is his, companies or, his funds going to, put more into it? Like, is there going to be, more interviews and stuff that goes on with it? But, to see this notification from Blockworks, and obviously they got it from Friendly New Bank. This is absolutely massive. We are so early to the party here, you guys. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.